Hey there everyone, it's Joe. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing just a quick video on FFTCG describing some of the cards for Opus VII that have been spoiled recently. Now Opus VII is not coming out until November, but you know, for the last few sets we've been getting kind of these spoilers kind of dripping out and, you know, being fed to us like over the course of the months but leading up to its release, and hopefully I will get another spoiler for it. But this is not my particular spoiler, this is just a roundup of some of the spoilers we've seen recently and give you guys my thoughts and opinions on the cards themselves. Obviously a lot of these cards will either see a lot of play or they won't, and I'm not going to go through every card that's been spoiled. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a heads up on some of the stuff that we're going to see. Now the first card that I want to talk about today is going to be Quirl. Now Quirl is a really interesting card because it has an ability that's kind of not been seen before in FFTCG, and I'll quickly go over what those are. First of which is a monster, it's a 2 CP lightning monster, which in and of itself is great because it has interactions with things like Urianger already. And then put Quirl into the break zone, choose one forward until the end of the turn, it gains 3000 power, haste, first strike and brave. That's a lot of abilities to gain. That's actually a really strong effect. But the other ability, which is just to discard Quirl with no additional costs at all, choose a monster of cost 1 and break it, and you can only use it while it's in your hand. So you discard it from your hand and you get an effect immediately without having to pay CP at all for it. Now I think that this kind of ability is really strong, depending on obviously what's coming into it. This particular card will be great because it counters a lot of 1 CP monsters that see a lot of play. Things like Flan, Liak, Cactuar. There's a lot of cards that it can actually target that see regular play. And the effect while it's on the board is actually pretty solid as well. So I think that Quirl is definitely one to look out for. And it's only a common as well, which is really even better. And the artwork is adorable and it's wonderful. So I definitely would like to pick up some foil Quirls when they come out. Now this next card that I'm going to talk about is a character that is very near and dear to me for FFTCG, and ironically not the game that she comes from, but it's Prish. Now this is our 5th Prish, I believe, and this one is a 9 CP 9k Prish, and she comes from Opera Omnia with the artwork. The cost required to play Prish into the field reduced by 1 for every Prish in your break zone. When Prish enters the field, choose a forward your opponent controls and deal it damage equal to Prish's power. Now this is a very powerful card. Just, you know, it's something that comes in and removes a guy, especially with a power like 9k, is very strong. The fact that she's 9 CP and can, like, you know, be reduced by having Prishes in your break zone is nice, but honestly the real power here is the fact that your other Prishes, so the Opus 3 and 4 ones, can play a Prish from your hand when they get sent to the break zone. So I reckon that this will see like maybe 1 copy, maybe 2 in Prish-based decks, though Prish-based decks in and of themselves have the one problem that, you know, when you have so many Prishes in your deck, you can only ever have 1 of them out at a time. However, that being said, with title format being a thing, you could play each of them once and you could have a wall of Prish, and you know, this one is definitely an end game for that kind of deck. I've played Prish a lot in my time, and I think that if I were to play this particular Prish, I would probably play 3 of the 2 CP Prish, 2 of the 6 CP Prish, and 1, maybe 2 of this one, and then kind of build a deck around that. But I'm not sure how effective that would actually be, but I think it's cool to see that Prish has an endgame card as of sorts within this card. Now the Opus VII pre-release promo this time around is going to be Yuri, which is from Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Now Yuri is a light card that has all of the elements except dark, so it's considered to have every element except for dark. Dial a total of 3 active backups of the same element, or 2 active backups of the same element in Yuri, so you can choose Yuri to be the 3rd backup if you like. Select one of the 4 following actions. Draw a card, choose a forward and deal it 4000 damage, choose a forward and dull and freeze it, or choose a forward it loses all abilities until end of turn. This is actually a really interesting and varied card. The issue, I mean, one of the things I do like about it, is the fact that its ability can be used even if it's just come in that turn, and I think that Wind is going to be like a really good home for it, because Wind obviously has the ability to activate your backups repeatedly so that you can continually use these effects. And Dull and Freeze is not something that Wind is very used to doing, especially with like such ease of access as this, so I think it could be a really good card. And Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles is getting quite a lot of support in this set, as you'll see in a minute, and I think that, you know, Yuri is definitely going to be the backbone of that, alongside, you know, one of the other cards in the set that's already been spoiled, which is Chelinka, who is a 3 CP wind forward that's 7000 power. If a category Crystal Chronicles character you control deals damage to a forward, the damage increases by 1000 instead. When Chelinka enters the field, deal 1000 damage to all forwards your opponent controls. When Chelinka forms a party with Yuri, then choose a forward and attacks, choose a forward or monster and break it. Now this sounds extremely powerful, and I actually really like Chelinka's come into play effect because it actually deals 2000 damage rather than 1, because she is a Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles character. But the former party with Yuri, I think, should be treated as an additional bonus effect and nothing more, because while it's very, very powerful, it does require you to have two guys out, neither of which have haste. Wind is not particularly great at giving haste outside of chocobos, so I think that while the effects are both very, very good, you just gotta kind of bear in mind certain things that like might slow you down in comparison to some of the decks that we have today. So like your Turbo Discard, your Chocobos, your Scions, things like that. We do need to see a little bit more Crystal Chronicles support, preferably within Wind, that will help this deck along. Though they do get one card in the set we've already seen, and I do apologise for the quality of a couple of these cards, because these are the most recent ones, and this was the best quality pictures I could find. We have Latov, which is a 5 CP fire backup that says when Latov enters the field, choose a Yuri or a Chelinka in your break zone and put it straight into the field. Now, this effect is really, really powerful, but it is on a 5 CP fire backup. So there's three problems there. The cards we've seen so far are more heavily leaning towards wind. So, you know, fire's not really helping anything, and the effects that Yuri has don't really play into fire very well. And then being a 5 CP backup means that you've got to, you're not going to want to see this in your opening hand, because you need to have a Yuri or a Chelinka in your break zone all ready to play it, and you can't really just discard a Yuri to help pay toward Latov and then get it out. It doesn't really work, so it's like, it just seems like a bit clunky. I think a lot of people are really excited about this card from what I've seen, so I think that it's definitely got potential, but I think that locking yourself into Wind Fire in order to play it, and then having to deal with a 5 CP backup that you don't want early, and then you have other high-end backups that you might want instead, like Katuna is really, really good in fire, and it's a 6-drop, and can summon something out of your deck rather than from your break zone, so it's like, I kind of liken it to that kind of card. So whether it sees loads and loads of play or not is entirely up to you guys. But Yuri and Chelinka I think are really, really cool, and I think they're really interesting. Chelinka being a legendary is also a thing. Yuri I think will work very, very well on his own. Chelinka will work very, very well with Yuri, as you know, you're probably going to play her in that deck regardless because of the ability just to go, oh, it comes in and deals 2,000 across the board. It's quite nice to kind of have that kind of blanket effect, especially with Wind having quite a lot of chip damage effects like Onion Knight. I think they're a really, really cool duo. How good they are, I'm not sure. I think they might be a little on the slow side, but that remains to be seen. Now the next card that we're going to talk about is going to be Vata, and again I apologise for the quality of the image on this one, but this was the easiest, best one I could find in such a short time. And this is a Final Fantasy Legends card, so this is the first of the Legends, and he's a 4-drop 8,000 forward, which is pretty nice in Wind. When Vata enters the field, if the cost to play Vata was only paid with Wind CP, activate all Wind backups you control. So this is going to be another card like Bart's from Opus 1 that's going to end up making a deck that's going to be mono Wind, obviously. You could even run Yuri and Chelinka in there as well if you wanted to, but it's going to be a case of you just keep activating your backups over and over and over again. So Yuri is probably going to be your end game for a deck like that. It seems like Wind is getting quite a lot of support in this set, and it's been increasingly like encroaching on the other colours in the last two sets. Last set it's like one of the main colours to use to counter a lot of different things in the meta, but it's nice to see Wind kind of carving its own way through. So I think that Vata's actually a really, really interesting card. It's quite simple, and it's not going to see play outside of mono Wind, but when you have quite so many cards that just activate your backups repeatedly, you're just going to have this ramp-based deck. As long as you get some draw power in there for Wind, then you're just going to have this ramp deck that just keeps playing cards over and over and over and over again, and you've just amassed this massive board of guys, so it sounds really interesting. Then the last card that we're going to talk about, and probably my favourite of the bunch, mainly because of who it is more than anything, is the Emperor. Now, I adore the Emperor's look in Dissidia Final Fantasy, so to see it shown quite so lovely here makes me very, very happy. Not only that, but I do actually think the card is very good as well. 5 CP, 9,000 power forward for Lightning. When Emperor enters the field, choose 2 forward your opponent controls and dull them. During your turn, when a forward opponent's controlled becomes dull, choose an active forward your opponent controls and deal it 3,000 damage. Now the closest comparison I have to this card is going to be Orphan from Opus 5. So Orphan's main draw is the fact that when it comes in, it dulls and freezes 2 guys, if obviously you have 5 either ice characters. Emperor doesn't have that kind of stipulation, but it's a little bit more open-ended. So it doesn't have, you know, it doesn't freeze things, but when it comes in, it dulls 2 guys. And with Lightning being quite so aggressive and fast, that's actually extremely powerful. This can, like, It comes in, it has an effect that's very aggressive, and then it has a 9k body to sit there and block for you if you need it to. It's a prime target for Zemus, so because that's something that like Zemus could just pull in and then you just go to town. And the other effect is actually really interesting as well. It will deal with those pesky Thaumaturges, as long as you've got some semblance of a hand. It will deal with a lot of weaker guys. You can just like ping off Vikings and Lilas like they were nothing. And I think that in combination with things like Ammon, you'll be able to deal like chip damage very quickly. In combination with things like Onion Knight, it'll work very, very nicely. You can put this deck in more than just Mono Lightning. It could go in Mono Lightning, Lightning Ice, because Ice is obviously very good at dulling and freezing things, and this kind of fits that theme. Or it could go in a Lightning Wind deck, so that you like the chip damage that you get will go very, very nicely with Orlando, or Onion Knight, or Rigdia. There's a lot of different things that it goes very well with, so I'm actually really happy to see this Emperor. Again, I'm not certain that it was going to see a ton of play because Orphan has started to fall off as well, but I think that if mid-range decks start to come back into the fray more than just hyper aggro, then I think this Emperor is actually very, very good. So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you very, very much for watching. But before I go away, we did actually recently just do 2 giveaways, and I'm really delighted to announce the winners for those. So the winner for the hand-painted Una card, which you see a picture of right now, is going to be Sasha Korbel in Germany. So congratulations. If you could get hold of me as soon as you can, and then I'll send that out to you as soon as possible. And then the winner of the 15 Opus 3 booster pack giveaway that we did this week to celebrate 6,000 subscribers is going to be Trevor Bray in the US. So thank you very, very much and well done. Congratulations. Get hold of me as soon as you can, whether you want to drop me a message on my Facebook page or through YouTube or Twitter, however you guys want to, then let me know as soon as you can and I'll get all that stuff sent out to you. Anyways, that's going to be it, as I said, for this video. So stay tuned for more videos on Opus 7 and Opera Omnia and Brave Exvius. We've got loads and loads of Final Fantasy related goods coming up. So again, if I say, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I shall speak to you guys very, very soon. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye.